This PowerPoint is meant to give you a brief review of the scientific method. Science is a systematic way to solve problems. We should be able to use a series of steps to be able to come to a conclusion. This year, specifically, we will be studying physical science, which is the study of matter and energy. And just in case you forgot, matter is anything that has mass and takes up volume. Mass being how much stuff you have, and volume how much space you are taking up. And finally, energy is the ability to cause change. In order for me to get something to move, I must apply energy. The scientific method is an organized plan or series of steps used for gathering, organizing, and communicating information. The goal of any scientific method is to solve a problem or better understand an observed event. At this time, we're going to take a short break from the presentation. I'd like you to watch a 5-minute video clip from The Holy Grail by Monty Python, which is about the scientific method. Not such a practical use of the scientific method, but a use nonetheless. As a matter of fact, you use the scientific method every day, and I bet you don't even realize it. So below the link are 6 different rectangles. Inside each rectangle are different words that relate to the scientific method. What I'd like you to do is take a look at your notes and see how much you can fill in. Try and fill in everything. Fill in what you know first, and then go back and try and fill in what you don't know. Try and recall information that you may have learned in your other science classes. So please pause the presentation, then watch the movie, and then see how you did. See if you can put the steps of the scientific method in order with the definitions that are on your paper. This is now on the top of page 2. You can pause the video while you work, and then below the little comic strip, I want you to continue taking notes after you've finished putting everything into order. Now let's take a look at the actual experiment part of the scientific method. An experiment has 2 test groups, the control group and the experimental group. The control group is the standard by which any change can be measured. Basically, it's what stays the same in the experiment. For example, let's say I want to test the effect of fertilizer on plant growth. What I would do, on the first plant, I would put fertilizer A. On the second plant, I would put fertilizer B. The third plant would not receive any fertilizer. All it would do is receive water in equal amounts as the other plants. This last plant that receives only water is considered our control group. The 2 plants that receive the fertilizer would then be considered our experimental group. In an experiment, any factor that can change is called a variable. We have 2 types, independent and dependent. An independent variable is something that you can change. It's also known as the manipulated variable. In our previous slide of the example of the plant, the fertilizer would be considered the independent variable. The dependent variable is what you observe. It's the responding variable. So in this case, it would be the height of the plant. The fertilizer caused the plant to grow different heights, or so we hope. Tomorrow in class, what we're going to do is take a look at our dependent and independent variables, and we're going to create an hypothesis. And then we're going to test out a few different types of experiments.